Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Oh my goodness, is that ever delicious? I think the coffees on Monday morning it tastes way better than they seem to any other day of the week. I don't know why that is, but boy, is it ever good. Wow, wow, wow. Guys, have we seen a turnaround for XRP just over the weekend? I know a lot of people, when XRP was down there at a buck 82, they were literally crying as if it was going to go right down through the floor. And here we are at what, $2 and what, 10, 9 cents or something in there. And you watching turns around happen like this. Guys, one thing about this space that I am sure you're getting very used to now is its volatility. It's volatility. And we have watched it literally just fire off and fall back and fire off again and all that kind of stuff. And guys, it's that volatility that gives you and I the opportunity, isn't it, to see life-changing gains in probably the shortest window of time that you can possibly imagine for Judy and I, literally in 13 months. Bang, bang. Now, we came in right at the very bottom, but guys, we didn't even know it because we got in when all this was going down, right? And we did it because we were trying to preserve the purchasing power of our savings, and we went out looking for gold and silver as a traditional hedge. Nobody had any, and we fell into this space, and boy, did it ever revolutionize our lives. And guys, this is where I'm always saying, when in doubt, you gotta zoom out. You can't let yourself be tossed around like a ping pong ball, like it's so easy to do emotionally. And that's where we're not actually looking at the day-to-day price action multiple times a day. Now, I know people do it. I used to do it myself. It gets almost addictive. And one thing I would definitely recommend is, take a look at it, see where it's at, but then, kind of back off a little bit. It will really help to preserve you mentally at least. Now, today, I believe Grayscale and Franklin Templeton XRP ETFs are being launched. And there are folks out there saying that, hey, this is a good reason why XRP is seeing the support that it's seeing. I don't think that's the total reason why, but I do believe it's going to have an impact because all these spot ETFs, as we know, are going to be holding the underlying asset. Well, for a lot of folks out there, they're kind of thinking, okay, why would I want an ETF, buy an ETF contract, a derivative, right? That is, so I can have exposure to the spot. Well, some people it's because, hey, they're just too nervous about using these exchanges and they just don't want the hassle with that, but they want exposure to XRP. Another big reason, of course, is that you've got institutions that have that fiduciary responsibility and can't get it other than through ETFs. And that you're talking pension plans, hedge funds, all that. Guys, that is going to have an impact. It is going to result eventually in a major, major move in the price. And I believe it because you will eventually see, in my estimation, we could see a supply crunch for sure. Now, this I want to throw out there, which is wild. Guys, a lot of people have made comments. I've seen them and asked questions. And they think that somehow retail moves this market. Guys, it doesn't. Retail doesn't even have any kind of impact. Some people have even said, David, if you wouldn't put out a video, maybe the price would rise because, of course, it seems like, I'll come out, I'll be positive. And, of course, we see the price dip or whatever. Well, guys, the impact that you and I have on the price of XRP is so minimal. Do you realize that, the majority of XRP, the majority of it is held by institutions and big time. Of course, you got Ripple and the escrow. You got all the SPACs now. You got SPACs that hold $1 billion XRP, another one $500 million worth, another one $300 million worth. Now you got all these XRP ETFs, Franklin Templeton, Bitwise, Canary, Grayscale, on and on. They're holding the spot. It is institutions that are moving the market. And guys, you want to be able to see how are they playing this game? Because they are playing to win. They are playing to win, zero doubt about it. You and I are just chum to them. In fact, that's how they manipulate the whole market, isn't it? They come out there, they throw down as much uncertainty, fear, and doubt as they possibly can. They even pay people to do it. And then, of course, they use their market makers to kind of suppress and control where they want the price to go. And they get people absolutely fudded out and totally FOMOing in. Most of retail guys, they get in way the heck up here. not down here. They get in when it's at when the absolute FOMO, that fear of missing out, is at its peak, and boy, do they ever pile on. We haven't seen that in this cycle yet, or if, as I like to say, season. We haven't seen it yet. And so I do believe a major pump is coming for XRP when we see all of that pile in, and it will happen. But guys, after that, you want to be thinking, look, for every bull market, yes, and there is a bear market. Don't kid yourself. Don't buy this narrative that it's going to be going up forever and it's never going to retrace. That is not the truth. In fact, what we just saw recently with a lot of these drops, how did your emotions feel then? Because I'll tell you, in the comments, I was seeing people that were, oh, I'll never sell, never sell. And then when that happened, oh, the sky is falling. Come on, that kind of nonsense. You've got to be thinking a lot sharper than that if you're going to succeed in this space. And you can. I believe that this space provides you and I probably the single greatest opportunity that has been around for generations to see absolutely life-changing wealth. I absolutely believe it, but you have got to be able to play that game, and you want to play it to win it. That is for certain right there, guys. Yep. And I think that we are shortly are going to see a turnaround. I reported how Stephens Crypto pointed out that the 3-day RSI there is way oversold territory and that a major trend reversal is coming. And I do believe that it is going to come. In fact, we're starting to see it, and it's bounced off of some critical support. And I am not a TA guy, but I certainly do follow some TA guys. And guys, you get a balanced approach being able, and there's some I really love. In fact, I love Blockchain Backer. But even Blockchain Backer right now, he's saying, hey, look, we could see a major another retrace. And we're looking at it and saying, traditionally we would get a bounce here. But in the altcoin market, it's not looking like that. But in fact, it's when you least expect it that things like that do happen. But when it does, are you ready to execute a plan if it does? And all that kind of stuff, because I'm going to tell you, it is no fun riding something all the way up and literally riding it all the way back down. And I know people that did it. They became millionaires, rode it all the way up, literally millionaires, and had ended up riding that all the way back down. Now, I know a lot of us are saying, hey, but with all that's going fundamentally for XRP, why would it come all the way down? I'm not saying it'll drop as significantly as it has in the past, but guys, it will drop. And this is where, look, you could see you could set up a strategy for accumulation like crazy. I mean, if you rode it up and you said, okay, these are my targets, and you took some out, and then you rode it back down, you bought back in, and all that kind of stuff, you could really set yourself up with the same amount over time. And yes, there are ways to mitigate how the tax and all that could go in there, but that is where strategy comes in. Don't just leave it to chance. A lot of people have got into XRP thinking, well, I'm going to buy now, and then when it hits a high price, well, no, you won't. No, you won't. Most don't, guys. They don't. And in fact, that is how they get you. They nail you down there. Don't let that happen to you. I'll tell you that. And Judy and I are thinking like that. We're being very strategic, but we are as bullish could be when it comes to XRP. And we want you to make it, guys. We love you so much. Want you to make it. That is for sure. And today, by the way, I am going to be meeting up with a whole bunch of folks and that have signed up for our coaching. I don't have any available right now. We're thinking about whether or not to start opening for December, but we haven't done it yet. But guys, it is going to be a great time for those of us that are scheduled. We're going to go through so many major deals. You're going to really, really get out of that with a whole lot more than what you thought. That is for sure. And we've now coached people from every walk of life, and hundreds of them. And we're helping us, guys. We all want to get across that finish line together. I want you right there beside me when we're standing in that winner's circle, right? And I believe it's going to happen, guys. It is just a matter of when, not if. Now, that is my 100% biased opinion, but I believe it wholeheartedly. That's for sure. Guys, lots of things are happening in this space. And by the way, Tuesday evening, I plan on doing a live stream of thanks and appreciation, because you know what? We just got this community, just got over that 70,000 subscriber milestone. In fact, we're almost at 71,000. So I just, want to share that because we did it together, guys. We have done that together, and I am so just proud of you and so grateful for this community. It has been an amazing, amazing ride. And guys, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. It is about to absolutely fire off, and the greatest part of this thrill ride, I really believe, is right on the doorstep. So, guys, I'll tell you what, until later on today when we have another fantastic video for you, have a fabulous one and take care.